Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I am George. We are all George. And today we have a huge recovery for Bitcoin and altcoins. And the market cap, I believe, is at $1.5 trillion now overall. So, of course, I had a stream last night. A lot of people were worried about the non-existent dip that you can't even notice now. But yeah, it was a good stream. A lot of people were worried, and I think I have an answer for you guys why it occurred and why it's such a good thing to have those kind of dips. Because I know there's a lot of people who are new in the game. You're jumping in, you haven't experienced small dips yet or dips at all, but they're actually fantastic. So I'm going to explain to you why dips are very good, why you should not be afraid, why you should not be panicking. And you need to do the opposite of what you're feeling, which is panic sell. You need to do the opposite and do panic buy, because had you done so, you would be up pretty substantially this morning. So thanks for tuning in. As always, I have two streams, 11 a.m. Central Standard Time and 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. So make sure you hit that subscribe button if you don't want to miss out on any of my streams. Hit that notification bell and follow me on Twitter and Facebook. And those of you guys that's already here, welcome. Let's get started. So let me change my screen. Bitcoin, as you see, is back up to 48,600. So basically back to where it was before, slightly lower than 49,000. But you know what? Of course, last night we had this, and a lot of people were panicking for basically no reason. Because I said, you know what? On a smaller time scale, you look at this, and you're like, oh man, that looks pretty big. But then you start zooming out, and then you realize, okay, that doesn't look so big. And then you zoom out some more, you're like, oh, that doesn't look so big. And then you zoom out some more, and you realize that was nothing. There was no dip. So if you look at a day chart, there was no dip at all. So that's the best way to look at it. Sometimes when you live in the moment, you know, if you're eyeing it every single second, every single minute, you know, it's kind of how it is. But there will be dips, and why it's good is because you want to buy low and sell high, not the opposite. Most people, I'd say most people that get into the game, they buy high because they're feeling like they're going to miss out. FOMO, that's what FOMO is. So I'm sure a lot of people bought like right over here, 49,700, right? And then when this happened, they're like, oh no, I made a horrible move. And you know what? A lot of people, you know what they're going to do? They're going to sell right here. And that's what you don't want to do. That's what you don't want to do. You don't want to buy up here and sell up here, right? If you did buy up here, what you do is, if you have some cash on hand, you dollar cost average over here, you average out your two buys, and guess what? Now, if you did that, you'll be average right around here, and you would be gaining right now, right? So that's why you want a dollar cost average over long haul. That's why these dips are fantastic. Gives you a good buying opportunity. And on the grand scheme of things, I was saying, this was nothing. You zoom in, it looks like that, but you zoom out and you realize, well, that's really nothing. You haven't really lived until you experience one of these. And that becomes really fun. When Bitcoin went down from 42,000 down to 28,000, and even that is tame compared to some of the dips that we have seen in 2018, 2019, 2020. I mean, if you thought that was bad, remember when I zoomed out on a day chart and it's basically non-existent? If you thought that was bad, imagine living through something like this, where Bitcoin literally dropped 66% within a single day. So imagine if Bitcoin went from, you know, where we were 49,000 down to, I don't know, 20,000. Yeah, that would be equivalent of that. Imagine sitting through that, and then you'll realize that what we just experienced yesterday was absolutely just nothing. It was silly, right? And it was just honestly a good buy opportunity. That was simply it. Now, besides Bitcoin, everything else that went down went up, and there was some flash crashes, kind of. And if you caught it and you paid attention, man, you made out like a bandit. Well, look at the overall market cap. You know, my thumbnail, 1.5 trillion. I'm not lying. 1.497. We're right there. We're right there. And Fern Dog, appreciate that. I mean, we're right at 1.5 trillion, so we're actually heading higher. We're actually higher than where we were a few days ago. Now, the altcoins are not as strong, but Bitcoin dominance is still only 60.6%. But you have a lot of greens today, right? And I'll show you an example of a flash crash yesterday. So had you taken advantage, man, you would have made out. So I'm on the graph, but let me show. Before I get to the news, I just want to show you real quick, because one of the ones that a lot of people love, one of the projects a lot of people love is Elron right now. And you look at Elron, what happened yesterday was quite amazing. Quite amazing. So if you zoom in over, where was it? Where was it? Over here. Okay. I'm going to get rid of the volume so you guys could see what I'm saying here. Elron had a flash crash from $152. It flash crashed down to 97 in an instant. In an instant. Think about that. Had you just bought some at I don't know if you could have caught it at 97. You could have bought some at 100, 120. You would have made out like a bandit now, right? So, I mean, just kind of shows you sometimes when there's was a small dip, there's mass panic. People just sell. And that's not what you want to do. You want to do the opposite. You want to ring, the cash register and actually buy, because that's how you profit. You buy low and sell high, right? So just to give you an example of what we saw yesterday, man, that was a golden opportunity to get in, right? All right. So I did say why I think this happened, and this is due to greed, but let me show you real quick. Is this due to F2 pool? A lot of people, still paying attention to F2 pool, so am I. Looking at this, no, it's not due to F2 pool at all. They did increase. You can see the overall volume did increase a little bit, but still, no panic, mass dumping. I showed that yesterday during my stream. Also, what's also really telling about this is I looked at Coinbase's inflow. And you know what? This is a really good indicator. If there's like a massive inflow coming in, usually that means people are trying to sell. But no, yesterday, inflow was relatively low too. So there wasn't really any mass dumping, right? But there was something that happened. And what was that? Well, it turns out, it was a long squeeze. That's what it is. Some of you guys have heard of short squeezes before. This was the opposite, a long squeeze, where there was just too many bullish and greedy people, right? I know some of you guys mentioned during my stream that BitBoy did a video saying he lost $150,000. You know why? It's due to a long squeeze, because he was going long, being a little bit too aggressive. And, trust me, we all been through it. Well, I shouldn't say we all, but some of us have. I have been too. It sucks. So what happened is basically you had too many people that was utilizing leverage and buying long contracts, expecting Bitcoin to shoot past 50,000 and really pump up, right? And those longs could be 5x, 10x, 20x, 100x. So you could get liquidated really, really fast if the price drops suddenly. And it seems like that's what happened. But what's the reason? And this is something I've always said. There's like this phenomenon where it goes both ways. I don't know if it's like caused by the exchanges themselves or some kind of whale party that is looking at this and trying to balance out the market. But whenever you have one-sided that is too loaded, this tends to happen. Same thing with short squeezes. When there's too many short sellers and Bitcoin comes down, all of a sudden you get a tremendous pump out of nowhere and you get a lot of shorts liquidated. In this case, it's the longs. You had almost $2 billion. $2 billion of longs liquidated overnight due to what happened yesterday with Bitcoin, with ETH, and others. That's a lot. That's enormously a lot. That shows you how many people are long right now. Also how many people are greedy and trying to, ride this up to the moon and to Mars and beyond, right? If you look at this chart, man, almost 1 billion liquidation just on Binance alone, Huobi, Bybit, OKX, and goes down. Bitfinex actually didn't have a whole lot. You know why Bitfinex doesn't have a whole lot? Because of all the scrutiny they have with Tether, with them, with the New York Attorney General. That's why they probably stopped their shenanigans. But all these other exchanges, is questionable what they're doing behind the scenes, right? So I said there's a phenomenon. It's really not explainable. Don't know why it happens, but it just tends to happen. whenever their one side is too loaded. So that was the cause. That was the cause, is that there was massive dump, right? And then you got a lot of liquidations happening, right? And then you had massive panic selling from the newcomers. And, you know, it all added up. But, you know, guess what? Had you taken advantage, or if you had strong hands, you just had to have strong hands, right? Or you took advantage. Now we're right back to where we are. And in fact, we are actually higher. I'm thinking we'll go past 1.5 trillion by the end of the stream. So yeah, that's what happened. Those of you guys that stay strong, you took advantage. You know what? You came out on top. Tom sent a super chat, sent some ETH from a Coinbase wallet at 10 p.m. last night, still pending. Any idea what dollar amount comes through on the... I have no idea. You must have used... Well, I don't know if on Coinbase you could set a gas fee, but I know Ethereum's network is congested, but I sent some ETH last night and some ERC20 tokens, and they were, you know, they were confirmed pretty quick. So I don't know what happened with Coinbase. So I don't know. I did get a story from a user that said, you know, he had his phone SIM hacked, but you know the hacker couldn't get in his Coinbase account, so he told Coinbase to suspend, and now he told Coinbase to unsuspend, and it's been over 2 weeks now, and no response to that request. So unfortunately, he's just been sitting on the sidelines. I mean, 2 weeks to wait is not bad because everything's going up, but that kind of shows you what's happening with Coinbase right now, which is why I know, which is why I always recommend, if you're new to the space, don't get into Coinbase. Although they're the big dogs, their customer service really sucks. Really sucks. There's no live chat. You try to call their 800 number, no one picks up. No one ever picks up. No one responds to the tickets. I don't know what's going on with Coinbase, but all the other exchanges are not nearly as bad. I was just on a few relatively unknown ones, even like Gate.io, for example. I was on there last night. They had a live chat. I waited literally 5 minutes to get to speak to someone. Gemini and Kraken, all these other guys, they're really responsive. Bittrex, I've used Bittrex in the past. They're very responsive, especially like Bittrex. You send an email, like a ticket, 10-15 minutes, you get a response. So I have no idea what's going on with Coinbase. So I highly suggest, for those of you guys that's getting in and you're looking at exchange, avoid Coinbase at all costs right now, because if you have problems, you're not going to get any support. So look at something like Gemini, right? Binance.us, Kraken, Bittrex, Voyager app. These are all fantastic options. Voyager, still not letting everyone in, but just want to share that story for you guys because it relates to your super chat. All right. So besides this massive liquidation, what else happened? Well, institutions are not worried, and no duh. Institutions, they laugh at these kind of panic dips, I guess, because they're like, okay, it doesn't matter to us. We're still going to buy, right? And you look at this chart of everyone that has bought Bitcoin, you know, these guys not fretting. You think Michael Saylor's like, oh, I better panic sell? No, he's panic buying. He keeps buying more and more Bitcoins along with everyone else. So institutions, you know, they have some of the strongest hands on earth, right? They look for opportunity. They wish Bitcoin would drop to 20,000 so they could pick up a ton more Bitcoin. That's what you have to try to do and emulate. You want to emulate the strong hands. You want to buy the dips. You want to take advantage of the dips. And you hodl and you hodl and you hodl until you become a multimillionaire or a multi-billionaire. But yeah, that's the name of the game, right? So I know a lot of you guys heard me say that for a long time, but I know there's a lot of new people, just like my yesterday's stream, man. 40,000 views in a single night, you know, that's a lot, and because people were panicking. There's a lot of newcomers that's panicking, right? This is what you don't want to do. Now, there is something I want to show you guys. Kelly asked thoughts on links as well as lending ETH. You think it's good to hold both, or you think ETH? They're both good. Don't pick one or other, Kelly. I hate it when someone says you want to pick this or this. No, if they're both great, go with both, and both ETH and Link are great. And I create videos on both, so make sure you check them out. My Link video is doing pretty well too. I just came out with that like a day ago. All right, so let me show you this. Some technical person came out this. It's hard to see, but I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. All right, here we go. This was back early 2017, before Bitcoin really shot up to 20,000. This is when Bitcoin first came up from 1,000 and it started going up to 2,000 and 3,000. In 2017, that's when I got back in the game. I got in when Bitcoin was right around this mark, like 1,200, 1,500, right? Because I was out for years, but that's when it started going. So that was right around the March, April timeframe. A lot of people think that, you know, Bitcoin was at 20,000 in January 2017. No, it was barely above 1,000. But you can see, this is back in 2017. This is now, okay? And it's eerie how similar they look. You had a spike up to basically, the high from before, right? You had a little dip, and then you get back to the previous high, and then it started really running up, right? Kind of like what we're saying now. This is why, history doesn't repeat, but it tends to rhyme. And it's rhyming almost identically. You can see our previous peak at 20,000, right? We kind of went down. We did have a spike to 14,000. That's a little bit different. But overall, you went down. You back up after 20,000. Guess what happened? Boom, right? Boom. And then we had a slight dip. The dip before was massive here, right? And you know why this happened? Because China banned Bitcoin. That's why it happened. So if you thought like yesterday's like 5% dip was big, imagine a 50% dip overnight. And that's what happened. Bitcoin went from 3,000 all the way down to like 1,500 before recovering. And we saw something like that recently, from 40,000 down to 28,000, right? Not as drastic, but we did see something. And now we're starting to come up, right? And this was going, okay, after this point, Bitcoin went literally from 3,000 to 20,000, right? So that's what happened afterwards. So we're at like 50,000. So what's going to happen after 50,000? 100,000, 200,000, 300,000. And because of all these institutions with their strong hands, there's no reason to think that after it hits up 100, 200, 300, 400,000, that it's going to come down 85% like previous cycles. Because these are the strongest hands on earth. They hold things for decades, right? So this could be the last time we see any of these low prices ever again. Like 30,000, that could have been the last dip that we saw going back to 30,000. That could have been it. And once we surpass 50,000, go to 60, 75, 100,000, 50,000 will be the last time we see it, right? It's always like that. You just don't realize it when you live in the moment, but you know what? Give it a few months, and then you realize, oh man, I should have picked up more. That's how it always is, right? Remember when we were under 20,000, how many people were saying we'll never break 20,000, we'll never get above, right? We're always going to be stuck. This is the top, just like 2018. And we're at like 50 freaking thousand now, right? How many people would die, would kill to buy some Bitcoin at 20,000 again, right? Right? I would. So that's going to be the same thing. 50,000. When Bitcoin's at 100,000, you're going to say the same thing. And it's not just with Bitcoins, with the entire market. That's just how it is. All right. Few altcoin news. Moving on. This is pretty big. A lot of people like synthetics, and they're a DeFi play. They have a DEX. They're into creating synths. Basically, you can create synthetic tokens of pretty much anything you want, and you could create it too. I learned a little bit more about their system. It's quite wild. You need to stake like 750% of the allocated, 75% of the allocated, I guess, synths that you create. So if you want to create $133 worth of, say, I don't know, George coins or something, that you have to stake like $1,000 worth of synthetics. So they have a really unique setup. But here, I didn't know this, but the whole thing is ran by a DAO, and Coinbase just recently Coinbase and Paradigm invested $12 million, and this is not going straight into the founders' pockets. This is being bought straight from the DAO. So this actually benefits the whole community overall, because previously, with a lot of projects, when they sell to a VC, it goes straight into the founders' pockets because the founders are selling their portions to the VC. They want to make their millions or billions. But in this case, it's coming straight from the DAO. It's not really going straight into their pockets, indirectly at least, or directly at least. Indirectly it is. But I mean, this is pretty big for synthetic. A lot of people love synthetic. It's been going up a lot. Creation of synthetic things. It's getting hot. Think about NFTs. NFTs are hot, right? So this all ties in together. What else is there? Some people ask me about Bitcoin Cash. Why do I hate Bitcoin Cash? Because it's a silly copy of Bitcoin. And now you look at the hash rate, even though it's been pumped up a little bit, I think it's because of Kim.com. For some reason, he wants to pump Bitcoin Cash, probably because he bought high and now he wants to ditch, sell you his bags of BCH. The hash rate is the lowest it's ever been. And what's alarming about Bitcoin Cash is it only takes someone, $8,560, per hour to do a 51% attack on a network because of how low the hash rate is. So anyone with a significant amount of money can do a 51% attack and just wreak havoc on the Bitcoin Cash network. And they could probably steal a lot more than $8,560 within that hours. And for context, to do a 51% attack on Bitcoin, it would cost you $716,000 per hour to do. So it's a big difference, right? Barrier to entry is very, very, very high for Bitcoin. And as the dollar amount gets higher and higher, basically it becomes impossible, right? But for BCH and for some of these smaller projects, we have heard of 51% attacks, right? And it costs that much to do it. Now, there is something else I have to mention, because you might be thinking, well, under $1 million to 51% attack Bitcoin isn't so bad, right? But it takes an enormous amount of hash power to be able to do so. And there is no way in hell you can all of a sudden get 51% of Bitcoin's network to be able to do a 51% attack. You just couldn't rent enough servers to make it happen. It just can't happen. But sure enough, you can rent enough miners to be able to attack BCH very, very easily. Very, very easily. So this is another reason why you don't want to get involved with Bitcoin Cash. Because besides not Charlie Lee, but Charlie Lee is also one of them. But someone I don't like, But, Roger Ver, he gone off on a deep end. He needs to come back. Bitcoin Cash is a failed project. He needs to come back to Bitcoin and shill Bitcoin, because that's what he did. That's what made him a Bitcoin billionaire. He became a billionaire from Bitcoin, and he overplayed his hand. Him and Jihuan Wu tried to do this contentious fork. They caused it. They thought they were going to become like trillionaires from it, right? Jihuan Wu got kicked out of Bitmain. That's what it brought him. He lost like hundreds of millions of dollars with his buys of Bitcoin Cash. So he got kicked out. And you know what? I think Kim.com, that's why he's promoted. He probably, got in high. And Roger Ver, I don't know what he's doing. He's just tarnishing his name at this point. So this is why I hate Bitcoin Cash. And Bitcoin SV, I don't even need to talk about it, about Craig Wright and everything, the shenanigans he's doing. So don't get into Bitcoin Cash. That's the bottom line. Lastly, Dogecoin. Dogecoin, people think it's a joke. Jackson Palmer created as a joke because he didn't like cryptocurrency. Well, guess what? He lost out on his billions because he left the project. I'm pretty sure he sold all his Dogecoin. And his joke project is now a top 20 coin. And it wasn't top 10. But here's the thing. The 5 developers that is controlling Dogecoin, they're very serious. They're about to do a new development on it. The last big one was in October 2019. Now, because of how popular it is, they're thinking about adding more technical upgrades, and they want to make sure that it is secure. So, Dogecoin is not going away. It's not going away, even though it did come down from its highs recently. Elon just tweeted yesterday he wants to support Dogecoin completely. It's just that he doesn't like to see that one address have 27% of the total supply. So if that comes down, he's going to go full blown. And I still think Tesla's going to open up Dogecoin as a payment service for Teslas. So think about that. If you could buy Teslas with Doge, that would be pretty big. That would be absolutely huge. Locked and loaded. Appreciate that super chat. So yeah, Dogecoin is here to stay. A lot of people still hate it. You know what? Don't hate anything. Just love the entire community, except BCH and maybe XRP and maybe Litecoin. And but you know what? We want to cheer the whole community on. We want everything to be going up. Bitcoin, we want to go up because it's going to lead and carry the market. We want Ethereum to go up. We want Cardano. We want Polkadot. We want Binance Chain. We want Chainlink. We want everything to go up because it's going to help everything else. It's a big ecosystem. It's very early, but it's hard to ignore at $1.5 trillion, right? That is a monumental achievement. And by the way, just so you guys are keeping track here, the world's total market cap is only 88.13 trillion. So you think about that, 88 trillion total market cap. Entire crypto is already 1. That's a lot. That's more than 1% of the total market cap of the entire world. That's 1.5%, right? Because if it was 10%, it'll be 8. If it's 1%, it'll be 800 billion. So yeah. Wow, that's the first time I had that revelation. The entire market cap of crypto is 2% of the world's entire market cap of all money out there. Do you know how wild that is? That's wild. That's wild. Imagine when crypto gets up to 8 trillion, takes 10% of the entire world's money, it equates to 10% of the world's total assets. That's wild. That's really wild if you think about it. And Bitcoin is sitting above 900 billion, nearing 1 trillion itself, and it's climbing and climbing and climbing and climbing. But that's wild. I did not notice that until now. But anyways, all right. That's it for what I want to get over. Got some super chats. Let's do some Q&A here. Diamond hands will revolutionize the world. Doge to Mars, according to Elon Doge. That's an awesome name. That's an awesome name, bro. All right. What else is there? Locked and loaded. George, if you had some spare cash, you think I thought wait until the next 10? Okay, I think you're asking if you had some spare cash, should you wait until the next dip? Well, it's kind of hard to say because even though everything's coming up, not everything is up completely back to where it was. And you know what? One of the reasons I said that, we had that dip yesterday is traditionally in the past, whenever there's like a huge sudden pump up, when Bitcoin's about to make the next leg up, you tend to see a dip like that. So I'm thinking this could be a precursor to Bitcoin pushing beyond 50,000 in a near future. So if that's going to happen, everything's going to be carried forward. So I would say still look at it. Dollar cost average. If you do have some cash on the side, fine. Wait for the next dip. But this could be the start of the next leg up. No guarantees, but it could be. It could be. A lot of these altcoins are still not back to their previous high yet from a few days ago, but that could be coming in the near future. Jeremy Clore, thanks for great content, George. Appreciate that super chat. Appreciate your support. Jay, have you seen YUI? You token? I can't I can't stop thinking about that scene in what's that movie? What's that movie with Chris Tucker? Chris Tucker and Jackie Chan. There's a scene where he's fighting this martial artist named Yu. It reminds me of that for some reason. But anyways, I have not seen this project before. They claim to a smart contract platform designed to ease bottlenecks in the financial ecosystem. How? How do they plan on doing that? The Yu Hinata smart token? Okay. Yeah, this kind of like turns me off already, so I'm gonna say no. Why do you hate Litecoin? What is the technical flaw? There's no technical flaw. Litecoin is a copy of Bitcoin, but Charlie Lee made it so that there's 4 times the supply and the block time is 4 times as fast. So each block is 2.5 minutes rather than 10 minutes, but the overall supply is 4 times. So Bitcoin's 21, Litecoin's 84. So just from the supply, right? It's at least 4 times. It should be at least 4 times cheaper than Bitcoin, just from that alone. Okay, but you look at gold and silver. Why is gold so much higher than silver? Because people just want to go with the best, right? Kind of like why Tesla is going up. So why would you choose Litecoin over Bitcoin? It doesn't do anything better than Bitcoin. So it's still a store of value. There's no doubt about it. It's a store of value, but it's not a smart contracts platform. You can't use it for anything. It's still relatively slow. So there's nothing going for Litecoin. And Charlie Lee, the founder, dumped his bags on the entire community when it was at a high of 300 back in 2017 and gave some lame excuse over it. And I exposed that they actually had no development. Litecoin had no development, even though he was promising Mimblewimble privacy for years. Zero development until it was leaked that there was zero development by me. And then now all of a sudden, he's working on it. And 3 years later, Mimblewimble's still not done. So kind of shows you the progress they've been making. Slicewood went nulls deep last night. You know what? I did too. I picked up a little more nulls yesterday because they did have a little dip. But nulls, you got to pay attention, man. Nulls is back to 74 cents. Once they break $1, I think it's going to be astronomically good for nulls. Nulls have so much going for it, but like I've always said, they drop so low, no one's paying attention to them, but they have a lot. They have as much progress, arguably, than, say, like the big boys like Polkadot does. They have a lot. They have a DEX. They have a bridge that can communicate with Ethereum. And they're into DeFi. They have a new staking platform. They are onboarding many, many new clients, or I should say partners and other projects. They have a lot. So watch out for nulls. Once it gets above $1, I think it's going to start really shooting, but we'll see. We'll see. So I did pick up a little nulls last night too. What else is there? When you look at Verus coin, it seems to ring most of the bells. I don't know what that means, but Verus coin. Zero knowledge, technology, privacy, or okay, I'm going to just stop right there. I don't like any privacy coins. If you're trying to make money, don't get into privacy coins. If you want to use something that no one can track, then great, utilize privacy coins. But if you want to make money, stay away because they're going to be delisted from all the exchanges eventually. South Korea already started doing it. All the South Korean exchanges, they don't have any privacy coins. The US started doing it, so pretty soon you're not going to be able to buy any of them. Leo, I appreciate your support, but don't spam the chat, man. Don't spam. I just invested in ADA. What can I expect? Well, you can expect basically what I put out recently. A lot of videos recently. One of the better ones recently that done well is this one. Cardano going $25. And here are my thoughts why, right? So just look at that video. You got your answer. Where I think Cardano is going. It's early. It's early. People still don't quite believe because I think the people that don't believe is because of what happened in 2018. Many people will never forget that. I'll never forget it. But you just got to face reality. The market, the whole I guess landscape is completely different. You just look at Bitcoin. All right, just look at what's happening with Bitcoin and you'll know that it's only going to get stronger. And as Bitcoin goes up and carries the market, it will carry the market, right? It's going to carry everything along with it. But you have big players that's standing on their own. So besides Bitcoin being a big dog at 900 billion, you have Ethereum that's also a big dog at 208 billion. 208 billion, you cannot ignore that. That's bigger than, say, big tech companies like Oracle. So they are huge. So you got big dogs that's leading the way, right? And that is why everything else is being carried and they're being looked at and there's traction and there's adoption. So yeah, I mean that's why these big numbers I'm throwing out there, I think they're realistic because we're really really early in a lot of these things. I like the graph. I like the graph a lot. They were pumping up to the moon this morning, and they continue to do really 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 well. I think honestly the graph could be pretty big. They could be pretty big. Now they're not as vital as Chainlink, but they could become like the next Chainlink, even though they don't compete with Chainlink. But I think I like the graph a lot. Can I do a video on BCH? No, I just got done saying how much it is, how much I hate it and how it's a garbage project. If you were to correlate the current stage of 2017 timeline, where would you say right now? I just got, man, you guys are asking the same questions that I just answered. This is all you need to know right here. This is back in March, April, May, June timeframe in 2017, and this is where it is now. They look pretty much identical. So we are, getting started, but nowhere near like the really really hot phase of 2017. That came in November. So Bitcoin was still around 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 in the first half of 2017. And that's what we're seeing, right? So yeah, we're very, 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 very early on right now. What's the best way to buy whole nulls if you're in the US? Oh, that's a difficult one. That's a difficult one. So, I mean, because everyone before bought them on Binance. Holding is easy. They have their own wallet, so it's very easy. But let's take a look. What else? Where else could you get it? KuCoin. KuCoin is open in the US, right? So that's a very good alternative. You got BIP, Buybox. They're open in the US. I would say, obviously with Binance out of the picture in the US, go with KuCoin. KuCoin is what I recommend. A lot of people ask me, hey, I can't get into Binance. What should you do? A really good alternative is KuCoin. They have a lot of projects out there, right? So there you go. Matt asked about auto. Is it about auto? Automotives? Cars? I don't know. I'm just guessing there. Native utility and governance token to the Auto Farm protocol. Okay. So what's the Auto Farm protocol? Auto Farm is a suite of products in decentralized, okay, that provides DEX, yield farming, aggregation, okay. So they're another AMM, I'm assuming. What I like right off the bat is they're on Binance Chain, so that does help them. Yeah, so they're like a AMM. The website definitely could be better. That's for sure. That's for sure. So I can't discount them, but this is ridiculous at $8,339. It's gonna prevent a lot of people from getting in. Maybe that's the point, but if you want to draw in a lot of people, you want to make that denomination much smaller. You don't want to make it bigger because that's gonna prevent newcomers from getting in. All right, what else is there? Digibyte. I'm neutral on Digibyte. I don't really like Digibyte. No, I shouldn't say I don't like Digibyte. I'm neutral on them, like I said. They have their 5 algorithm, consensus, but they're supposed to be a digital currency. So they're supposed to be used for conducting regular transactions, like buying coffee or spending DGB at a retail store. But I just don't see the traction. But one project that I do like that is in the e-commerce space, because normally I don't like e-commerce space stuff. But I take that back. There's 2 projects I really like. One is Terra, and they're mostly in South Korea though. But they're building out. Terra is a great one that is in the e-commerce space because they were created by e-commerce people, and they're also in DeFi. So they're kind of in all over the place. But the one that I really like, I was introduced to it recently, is AMP. And if you look at AMP and Flexa, the Flexa app is in the e-commerce space. Basically, they're trying to be the crypto version of Square or crypto version of, I don't know, PayPal. But they're geared for vendors so that they can accept cryptocurrency. They don't have to worry about settlements. It's instantly settled. Transactions are instantly verified. And it's a really unique setup. And they do have good traction. So if you're looking for e-commerce play, look at AMP. I actually do really like AMP. I covered them in Patreon recently too. Just heads up on something big with ETH and DeFi transaction and Coinbase stalling. Seems to be what? Okay, let me read that back again. Tech Boy says, hey, heads up. Something definitely big is happening with ETH/DeFi transactions and Coinbase stalling. Seems like a lot of forum chatter. Okay, I don't know what that means. I mean, Coinbase tends to stall whenever. They just like stall and they crap out whatever. I don't know what that means. Whether or not they really have so much usage or something fishy is going on, I don't know. Rocco, thank you for that. Jay asks, do you think BitBoy and similar channels should be transparent about which are paid promotions, which are not? Hard to trust them. Yeah, they should. I mean, technically, YouTube requires you to do so, right? When I do a sponsored segment, I always say sponsor segment or a sponsor partnership like CryptoTrader.tax. I've said that clearly. It's a sponsor. You should. That's how it should be, right? So I don't know about BitBoy. I don't know if he discloses or not, or others. I know there are a lot of legitimate, channels out there that does so. But if they don't, then shame on them, right? Let's go catch up to them. Like Data Dash, for example, that the whole thing was Substratum before, getting paid $100,000 in Substratum tokens, didn't disclose. Then people caught him. That tarnished his reputation quite a bit. People won't forget that. So it's better to disclose. But anyway, speaking of CryptoTrader.tax, tax season is coming up. So I did partner with them. If you guys want a tax report, you know what? Check out CryptoTrader. I have a 20% discount code in the description of this video. All right, that is pretty much it. I'll let you guys go. Overall, market is doing really, really good. I would have loved to see 1.5 trillion. We're right there, but we didn't see it. But I'm pretty sure we're going to see it in the near future. Those of you guys that took advantage of the dip yesterday, congratulations. Those of you guys that are new, we're panicking. Well, this is perfectly natural. Perfectly natural. In fact, it doesn't even register. It doesn't even register if you zoom out. You go to a day chart, there was no dip, all right? So be prepared. Be prepared. There will be more. There will be bigger dips in the future, right? So you got to prepare for yourself. You got to prepare yourself. Make sure that, you have strong hands. You don't have weak hands. Follow what the institutions are doing. Follow me. Listen and pay attention to what's going on, and you'll realize that you'll get through it. And when you do, you're going to be much stronger afterwards. All right, guys, that's it. Thanks for tuning in. I am George. We are all George. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and stay tuned for my live stream tonight at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. And if you want some exclusive content, check out my Patreon page. If you want a crash course on Bitcoin overall, then check out my Teachable page. All right? Everything is in the description. Until later, guys. Bye-bye.